Welcome to Tell Me More, the all-steel podcast where design meets innovation and we explore the limitless potential of workspaces. In this exclusive series, we're peeling back the layers of workplace design. From the psychology of colors to the future of hybrid work, join us as we open doors to conversations with industry leaders, architects, and designers who redefine the modern workplace. This is Tell Me More, brought to you by Allsteel, because when it comes to designing the future, there's always more to discover.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Tell Me More podcast. I'm Andrea Gauss, Director of Client Solutions with Allsteel. And today we're going to be talking about the important topic of circularity. And I have Lisa with me discussing this topic. Lisa, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lisa Brunie-McDermott. I'm the Director of Corporate Social Responsibility at HNI, so leading our sustainability initiatives across the enterprise, and I've been with the company for just over 4 years.
And we are very glad you're with us. You bring lots of expertise. I've learned so much from you, which I love. And part of our goal is to help educate our audience a little bit around some important topics of sustainability in this little series that we're doing. So today, when we talk about circularity, it's one of the C's. It's the third C. We've been talking about climate. We've been talking about chemistry. And now we're going to talk about circularity. Define it for us. High level, what is circularity?
Yeah, I'm glad we're starting here with a definition because I think it's really important to make sure people are level set on what we mean. And I think our 3 C's really intertwine here, right? Like, to achieve circularity, we need chemical transformation. To achieve climate change reductions, we need circularity. They're all embedded. But I really like the Ellen MacArthur Foundation definition of circularity. So they look at 3 principles. 1 is eliminating waste and pollution. 2, looking at circular products and materials from the design perspective. And then 3, regenerating nature. So I think those are really important principles when we think about circularity. And you know, from a simple perspective, it's transforming from a linear model of take, make, waste to a circular model where we're trying to think about how do we refurbish, refresh, recycle, all of those things rather than just at the end, not thinking about it anymore.
Right. So give us an example from not furniture, from something else that we would kind of reference to understand this a little bit better.
Sure. So one example could just be, aluminum soda cans, right? So we have a system in place to provide a benefit to people to encourage recycling. And metal is a really good example of a material that can be recycled over and over.
I like to think about the used car industry too, because it's this really big asset that has a whole bunch of embedded carbon within it and this ability to have the primary owner, secondary owner, etc. And if we could figure out a way to replicate that more in our industry, I think that could be a really interesting way to go here. Okay, so circularity, we're trying to move this from a linear, straight kind of economy of take, make, waste, throw it away. I was actually, when I was pulling into my house over the lunch hour, the garbage truck had pulled up across the street and I was watching the garbage guy try to deal with the trash and he missed the top and went all the, I'm sitting there there has to be a better way. That's just what kept coming to my mind. So that's the goal here. There has to be a better way. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing to think through this a little bit internally. If you will, go for it.
Sure. I think there is a lot. So when I look at us reusing waste in our own products, right, we have many examples of that from cold molds. We're using wood waste to create seat bases, to counterweights. We're using a mill scale metal waste to create counterweights that stabilize our product. We're even recycling our powder coat paint to, paint less visible parts. So really finding opportunities to reuse material and so that they don't end up in the landfill. I think other examples could include things like the sequel fabric, right? Like identifying ocean-bound plastics, and utilizing those in fabrics, even using recycled content in our products, and promoting recycled content is driving that recycling market, right? By more demand for those materials, we're driving the recycling, the reuse, and incorporating that into our product to lower its embedded carbon. Another thing that comes to mind is FSC certification, right? By sourcing more sustainable wood, we're creating more of a regenerative, renewable market for nature, right? We're ensuring that we're not just cutting down trees, but that we're sourcing and maintaining those forests in a sustainable manner. So I think there's many examples. Another big thing that we offer for our customers is ANEW, right? An opportunity for our customers to recycle, refurbish, refresh their furniture so that it doesn't just end up in the landfill. So I think there's aspects that we incorporate into our product design, into our own materials, and then the piece that we offer to our customers. And I would say this is a big challenge, right, that we are faced with. How do we do this better? How do we think differently about this? And it will be something I think we're going to continue to grapple with over the next few years.
So let's talk about ANEW a little bit more. You referenced them. There are other partnerships we could engage with beyond ANEW, but ANEW is a nonprofit organization, and their whole goal is to come in when there is furniture that the primary user no longer needs or wants, and to be able to say, okay, let's find a secondary home, maybe another nonprofit, a school, et cetera, something locally that we can redistribute this product to. I think this is an area where I see clients super interested in, because they can really physically see the waste of a big churn event. They can see a whole floor plan, an entire floor of office furniture going out the door. How big of a problem is this for our industry?
Yeah, so, the EPA says roughly 17 billion pounds of office furniture end up in the landfill each year. So it's enormous, right? And it's really complex because oftentimes we don't know where our furniture ends up. So it'd be really difficult for us to collect it back. Early on in my career, I worked for Canon, the camera company, and at that time we were recycling ink cartridges. But the way it worked there was you just had to recycle a percentage of ink cartridges that you sold. So you didn't actually have to take yours back. So
any brand.
Yeah. So that's where it's like, to tackle this problem, there's so much logistics and infrastructure that's needed that it is bigger than just all steel or HNI. We need to think about it really holistically. So
it's an industry question. It really is an industry question. I've been thinking a little bit just about what our industry rewards. And we think about the type of behavior we reward on the interior design side of things. Everything's so Instagrammable, and we're looking for day one beauty shots and fun and interesting and unique design. And then we're all guilty of it. We move on to the next project, and we don't think about the staying power of how does that install, morph, and change with the needs of the client. Or how could I, as a manufacturer, come in and think through how can you use your existing assets differently? What value could I add to those products over time, rather than just at the initial build out or install? I know that we for a long time have thought through with our design around kit parts and this notion that, yes, beauty shot day one is super important, but how does that social collaborative setting change with that ginormous sofa 10 years down the line, and how could we pull it apart and redeploy it in a more meaningful way? So that's certainly something that we're continuing to push on. Do you have any other ideas on how we could maybe challenge ourselves in this way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been thinking through in product development, how do we start to create more replaceable parts, right? How do we refresh furniture, give it a new look without having to replace all the components? So I think there's opportunity there that we can certainly tap into more. I think utilizing more sustainable or lower embedded carbon materials that come from waste. I would love if we could recycle our own wood waste. It's one of our biggest waste streams into making into our product, right? So we've been trialing some of that over the last few years. We haven't cracked that yet, but future state, that would be something where, rather than making sure we're recycling, how do we bring it back into our manufacturing process?
Yeah, exactly. I love this conversation too, because I think everybody wants to do something in this area. They see the benefit. And another way to challenge, I was talking to a design firm recently, and they were helping think through the long-term budget, right? The initial design fees, the build-out fees, et cetera. And they challenged their client at the beginning of their project to think through and budget for decommissioning. So in 15 or 20 years, let's plan ahead on how we're going to decommission the right way, the best way, rather than the easy way. And so starting to think at the beginning with the end in mind, or the new cycle in mind, I think really becomes an important piece here. Okay. Anything else? You were going to say something.
I agree.
I was
just going to say, I love that challenge. I think the challenge for us is embedded into design. The challenge for our designers and our architects is exactly what you just said. So if we can get everybody thinking about the end up front, I think that's truly circularity.
Yep. Okay. With that, thank you for joining us for our latest episode of Tell Me More. And we look forward to continuing the conversation.
Bye. Thanks. That brings us to the end of another fascinating episode of Tell Me More. We hope you enjoyed our conversation around the important topic of circularity. Stay tuned for the next episode in our sustainability series, where we'll explore Allsteel's effort toward a better portfolio. As we sign off, remember that the conversation doesn't end here. Connect with us on social media @Allsteel and share your thoughts, questions, or even your favorite moments from the podcast. We love hearing from our engaged and curious audience. Until then, thanks for listening.